Hello dear viewers, welcome back here on the main stage in our Frankfurt Formnext studios. Welcome to a real highlight of Formnext Connect. Pitchnext is an event that has existed since the start of Formnext and gives young companies the opportunity to present themselves to an international audience of industry professionals. To get this chance and to be part of it, they need to win the Startup Challenge. What does it mean for you as the Formnext audience? With a presentation of those young companies, we get an insight into the future of additive manufacturing, new ideas and new approaches. For me personally, this is always of the most motivating parts of this program because the enthusiasm the startups show for their topic is transferred to all the people involved. Looking back over the past 5 years, the event can be seen as a model of success because today some of the startups presenting at Pitchnext are now big and international companies, partly because they use Pitchnext event and booth at Formnext as a stepping stone. Examples are 3Yourmind, Dimension, Sinterit, Shrinker3D, Comovis, and many, many more. Normally, our winning startups do have a booth at Formnext, which is unfortunately not possible this year. Nevertheless, we want to give them the best possible framework to present themselves, which is why they will of course have their pitches, but in digital format, and the opportunity to exchange ideas with you, the audience. Still, there are some things different this year, and to explain this, I would like to introduce you to a guest for today's event. Welcome Arno Held, Chief Venture Officer at AM Ventures. Hello Arno, how are you?
Good evening, I'm very well, thank you.
Perfect. Arno, now I have doing a little bit of advertising for the Pitchnext event, but if anyone can really judge it, it's you. How important is such a challenge for a startup?
Well, I think you cannot overstate the importance of especially this challenge to the startups. And every startup is in a constant battle for attention, competing with the established players in the industry with very high budgets for communication and advertising. And startups have to be very clever and very motivated to get their piece of attention from the customer, from any kind of visitor to this kind of show. And therefore, a startup challenge, a competition is always a great opportunity for a startup to gain attention, to place them very prominently above others, and in this way get the attention of a potential customer, for future employees, and also even investors. So in fact, we as AM Ventures have found more than a handful of our potential investments here in Frankfurt at the Formnext show or in the past 5 years.
So if you compared what we're doing today, the digital format, to the real event Formnext, what is the difference for a startup? I mean, pitching in front of real physical audience compared to a virtual one is quite a difference, isn't it?
It is indeed, yes. However, from my experience, I would say that startups find themselves much more comfortable with this changed environment. When you look at how very famous startups are currently communicating during Formnext, even before. I mean, everyone knows the very famous Formnext party, which is still happening this week. This is an event that has become pretty legendary in our industry, and we decided to still continue to doing so. And I'm amazed by the level of creativity that these teams have come up with, and they just put up with a change of setting and start doing it and use the tools that they have available. And I think this is a big difference to many of the established players who have quite a hard time to triggering this creativity in their organizations. So I think this change of environment and of format is quite a big opportunity for our industry and for startups particularly.
Great. I mean, what is special then about Formnext compared to the other ones? I mean, the two of us are attending various events where we get into networking, and you have a specific audience there that is focusing on the topic of the network event. So at Formnext, you have a broad range of visitors. I mean, even today, more than 8,000 people are watching. So how do you approach as a startup that has a specific topic this broader range of audience, or what is the opportunity behind them?
Well, the opportunity is that in such a format, in this week, the communication in our industry is about Formnext. So the attention is already on this topic, and I mean, Formnext has always been the place to be in the industry. If anyone wants to get some information or get their heads into additive manufacturing, this is where you go. And therefore also this week is now the week when people who are starting to learn about additive manufacturing are dealing with the topic. And therefore there's a lot of attention already on additive manufacturing, and startups can jump on this train and provide an overview of their capabilities and their product portfolios and reach out to the customers who are now realizing that their supply chains have become extremely vulnerable, that they have to digitize their companies, that they have to rethink their product portfolios, and therefore are, I would say, quite receptive to new ideas that help them to digitize their world.
Very good. Some of the startups I mentioned are or are having an investment by AM Ventures nowadays, like 3Mind, for example, or Dimension. Is it sometimes, I mean, you are in regular contact with them, is it sometimes that they say, Arno, do you remember when we pitched at Formnext at the Startup Challenge? That's something you talk about or re-mention?
Yes, of course, quite a bit. Not only with the startups. I mean, we do have our annual portfolio weekend where we gather, and we also talk about either how we met or, yeah, as I mentioned, the parties that we have set up and which have become quite a big gig now in the industry. But even with the Formnext team, especially when it comes to the Startup Challenge with Sascha Wenzler and Anne Hötter, we talk about how this all has started five years ago. I mean, I myself, or my partner Johann Oberhofer and I, we had just started the company in the first months of 2015, and we knew that Formnext was going to be set up. So my friend Kai Witter introduced me to the Formnext team because I was looking for an opportunity to give startups an opportunity for a free exhibition space at Formnext. So I knew that, or I was convinced that Formnext was looking for opportunities to cooperating with startups, and I simply reached out to them and suggested that we should host some sort of a competition for smaller companies that could not yet afford to exhibit at the biggest place in the industry. And yeah, that was maybe the quarter in which AM Ventures was born was also the ignition point for the Formnext Startup Challenge. So there is quite a bit of history and some really nice memories attached to the past 5 years working with this team.
Great. I mean, this is how I see it when I walk over the real Formnext and you walk by the startup area. This is quite impressive and probably a benchmark in the fair industry as well, in the exhibition industry, that those startups get the opportunity to do so and to present themselves there. I mean, we're talking about tradition, we're talking about history. Sometimes there comes the point where you have to change or extend something, and this year is something special because it's not only about this very beautiful and nice award, we will talk about this later, it's also that there's a new award coming up, and this is one of the central topics we're dealing here with at Formnext, and it's called the AM Ventures Impact Award. Could you give us a brief summary of what it's about? Because we talk later a little bit more in detail what this Impact award is about.
Well, at some point we have come to realize that startups using our technology can make a big difference and can help solving the biggest challenges in the world that we currently have. And we all have a certain responsibility to, in my opinion, guiding our industry into the right direction, because you can do good or bad things, or right or not so right things with our technology. And we see it as a big opportunity to awarding those startups that are dealing with the big challenges in the world, addressing many sustainability topics with their way of doing business. And therefore, AIM Ventures has decided to create a new kind of award, an additional kind of award, which is the AIM Ventures Impact Award.
Great. I'm especially lucky for that, to be honest, or happy about that, because when we discussed sustainability here at Formnext, it was always the challenge or the battle between money and, let's say, sustainable approach, what comes first. And the main opinion was, first you need to create a certain economic success, then sustainability comes second. I mean, by initiatives like the Impact Award, you're pushing sustainability to be stronger in comparison to the pure economic success here on this side. Before we speed on, let's talk a little bit about the conditions to participate at Startup Challenge. It's not that every startup can participate, because some of the startups can be considered rather a grown company than a startup. So first one is the company should not be older than 5 years. Turnover may not exceed 10 million euros. Yeah? And there cannot be a majority shareholding in a company with an annual turnover exceeding 10 million. So, I mean, those are already impressive figures. So, why did you implement those preconditions?
You know, in some way, we had to define what a startup really is. And for us, yes, a startup is a young, small, dynamically growing company that also deserves some help, because we think they are designing and creating their business in a special, very promising way. But most of all, we wanted to support those who would deserve more support. And therefore, we somehow had to define the startup as a small company with limited resources. As everyone knows, there are startups out there which call themselves startups, but have hundreds of millions of dollars of funding and a valuation beyond $1 billion US dollars, which is great for them. I'm happy that they exist. Don't get me wrong. But we did not think that that these would be startups that deserve free exhibition space and a certain extra level of communication. And therefore, we decided it should be smaller companies with overseeable revenues. And talking about the majority shareholding, what we also did not want to support are spin-offs of very large corporations, sure, which are artificially generated and boosted in order to become big. These are also great approaches, but it would be unfair to give them more support than those who really need it, who are looking for exactly this kind of support measures.
Such a startup challenge is not for free, especially for the ones organizing and initiating it. So we do have some sponsors of the startup challenge. Who are the sponsors, and how did they enter into that startup challenge thing, and how did you find them?
Well, as I said, we've been working with this team and in this setup for a couple of years already. And next to us, there are two additional main sponsors: Voxeljet from the Augsburg region, from Bavaria, a vendor, a hardware company that is providing additive manufacturing systems, which has traditionally been printing the very nice awards for us and supported the challenge from very early on. Also a company that was a startup once and is now a publicly listed player in this industry. And the other sponsoring partner is the famous team of the 3D printing industry. So Michael and Bo, I think pretty much everyone in the industry knows their newsletter and lives of the news that come from this channel. So they've been reporting very greatly about what we've been doing and are parts of many different initiatives around the Formnext show. And therefore we also are very happy to not having Michael as a part of the jury, but also 3D printing industry as a sponsoring partner.
I think it's important to have like a news networking partner in this sponsorship, because one of the key reasons why doing this, giving them a booth or a presence in order to boost their business and their attention, this is good to have such a partner on board. So we have a fantastic jury who we see here. So the jury is made up from experts from a wide range of fields in our industry. So we have Dr. Christian Arns, Managing Director and Partner from the ACAM, Aachen Center for Additive Manufacturing. We have Stefanie Brickweh, the Head of 3D Printing and Managing Director of Mobility Goes Additive. We have you. Yeah. And then we have Tobias Kuhl, Head of Operations Expreneurs at Unternehmertum. We have Alexander Osser, Director Additive Manufacturing Autodesk. And we have the recently mentioned Michael Pett, Editor-in-Chief 3D Printing Industry. Arno, please give us an insight. I mean, you have those startups, they're applying for the startup challenge, they want to win. How does this selection and decision process work? And especially now in the pandemic situation, how you get all together and you got all together and discussed who the winner is?
Well, first of all, luckily we did not have to change too much in the mode of operation of the jury, because we've been digital ever since from the beginning on. So that was fairly easy and did not disrupt our way of working too much. But how it works in general is very simple. As a jury, already a long time ago, we have defined a set of criteria according to which we would like to evaluate the entrants or the applications for the competition. It's a mix of relevance for the show, addressable market, business model, the way how they present themselves, the team configuration, classic startup evaluation KPIs. And once the deadline is hit to enter into the competition, and once all the applications are in, the jury receives a package of all the documentation that the startups provided, and our valuation matrix, according to which we then give points. And in the end, it's a very transparent process. We have then 1 or 2 jury calls via video conferencing, and compare our results. We have a very transparent ranking of the different startups, and we see who are the top 3 or 5 winners. And then we also discuss a little bit how every jury member sees the valuations and the judgment. And so far, it's always been quite a homogeneous valuation and a very, very positive cooperation with everyone involved.
Great, perfect. So we're going to have a look here at the winners. We come later to them. They will get the opportunity to pitch, of course. But before we go into the pitches of the winners, we will have 2 more pitches of 2 very interesting startups participating in last year's Startup Challenge. And they ordered or they booked a booth, a physical stand at Formnext. And unfortunately, as we all know, they couldn't have it. But they decided to stay on and still want to do it virtually. So we will see now 2 startups, Exponential Technologies and Liberty Powder Metals, one after another. Enjoy their pitches, and very important for you as an audience, you are able to ask questions via Slido as during the whole conference. Please make extensive use of that, because afterwards we will have a Q&A session with the startups. So please, pitches go on, and we will see us afterwards.
Hi, My name is Matthias Kaiser, and I'm co-founder and CEO of Exponential Technologies. Developing printing parameters and new materials for additive manufacturing is a highly complex task. That means companies usually work months, not even years on the development and can spend millions of euros. Making additive manufacturing a true industrial manufacturing method will require to make hundreds of materials printable in the future and develop even more materials specifically for additive manufacturing. This is impossible if we have to spend months or years and spend millions on these developments. Luckily, we have developed a solution. It's called XT Smart DOE. It helps to develop and optimize printer parameters, to develop new materials specifically for additive manufacturing with specific end-use properties. And we can do this 10 times faster than any other solution on the market. Our solution works with all different machine types, all material types, and all processing types. We achieve that by using a technology called active learning, which is with novel AI algorithms developed by our CTO. Here's some example of things we have done so far. For example, with our partners at EOS, we have developed printing parameters for one of their SLM metal powder. And we required only 3 print jobs with each 20 cubes to come from knowing nothing about the material to a well-printable solution. Usually that can take months and can cost millions of euros. With our partners at Evonik, we have developed a unique SLA resin together with the SLA printer parameters for specific end part properties. We required only 25 samples in this case and could show significant benefits over the business as usual. Currently, also, we're working on a project called AMable, where we optimize FFF printer parameters to receive end-use parts with high strength and low weight for the use of printing fixed-wing drone bodies. We could so far increase the strength of the material by 25% and could lower the weight as well. Also, we're currently starting a project with our friends at Caltech University with the support of EIT Raw Materials. There we're working on making materials printable, which will be used for battery anodes. These materials are extremely brittle and hard to print usually. XT Smart DOE is a cloud service with a subscription fee, but we also have an edge computing device that brings XT Smart DOE to your premise. So thanks for your attention. Please visit our booth here at the Formnext or visit our webpage, and let's start the 5th industrial revolution now. Thanks a lot.
Hello and welcome to Liberty Powder Metals. My name is Dermot Desmond and I'm the Commercial and Business Development Manager. It's my great pleasure and privilege to be here with you today at Formnext, albeit virtually, and I do hope you are all keeping safe and well during these uncertain times. So who are Liberty Powder Metals? Well, Liberty Powder Metals is an innovation incubator born out of Liberty Speciality Steel in conjunction with Tees Valley Combined Authority. We're here to produce powders for additive manufacturing and PM HIP. But you know, it wasn't an easy journey. We should have been here 6 months ago. Atomizer should have been installed, commissioned, up and running and producing powder. But of course the pandemic hit. So our team and our partners had many challenges to overcome. But they were adaptable and agile in their approach. And I'm pleased to announce that we are now in the final stages of commissioning, with the last few acceptance tests underway, and in the next 2 weeks we will be producing powder for market. This is an amazing milestone and a wonderful achievement by our team. So what atomizer did we go for? Well, we chose a state-of-the-art vacuum inert gas atomizer, complete with anti-satellite technology. This system allows us to produce powders that are highly spherical with very few satellites, delivering excellent flowability, spreadability, and packing densities. And what powders do we produce? Well, we produce steels, stainless steels, nickel superalloys, cobalts, aluminium, titanium, copper, and of course custom alloys. We have a 25% commitment for R&D, most of that to develop next generation custom alloys that you can exploit in your manufacturing processes. Liberty Powder Metals sits under the overarching ethos of Liberty Specialty Steel's Green Steel Initiative, where we look to reduce waste, energy, and where possible, to reuse materials. We service industries such as automotive, aerospace, medical, energy, oil and gas, and of course general engineering. We're well on the way to finish our process of gaining quality qualifications in aerospace and expect this to be completed within the next 2 to 3 months. The powders that are in your parts are important, and we believe Liberty Powder Metals gives you powder that you can be confident in. Thank you very much.
Very exciting pitches from Matthias and Dermot. Please, visitors and viewers, make extensive use of our Q&A opportunity in Slido. Now is the time that you can ask questions, and I would like to welcome Matthias and Dermot here on stage, virtually connected with us. Welcome, Matthias. Welcome, Dermot. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. I at least.
Perfect. Great.
I can hear you.
Thank you for your pitches. I can very well remember both companies pitching last year in real life on the Formnext AM4U stage. Matthias, how has it gone since then? How was your year at Exponential Technologies?
I would say a mixed package. It started, of course, unpleasant. Some of the projects that we have planned for beginning of the year were postponed because a lot of our partners moved to home office and had not so much time. However, we managed to start before COVID our partnership with Evonik Industries, which was a great success. And during the pandemic, we also we widened our scope and ventured a little bit into biotechnology sphere, which was also very successful, which was just possible through the situation we were thrown in. So we made the best out of it. And so far, it's working very well, and we had some good successes over the last year.
Great.
I have maybe a question to Mr. Desmond of Liberty Powder Materials. Why are your materials so much greener than others? How can you elaborate a little bit on this?
Sure. So that's a very good question. So at Liberty Powder Metals, we're part of Liberty Specialty Steel, who for a long time now have had the Green Steel Initiative, where they look at reducing energy usage, energy consumption within the metal production industry. They look at recycling wherever possible, and obviously eliminating waste, and really gearing towards the circular economy. So when Liberty Powder Metals was formed, that ethos carries on through into that. So the industries that we supply into obviously are very less wasteful than subtractive industries, so additive manufacturing and PM/HIP, but also in the choice of atomizer that we went for. Part of the rationale behind it was we wanted something that was easy to be able to reprocess revert material, be that from our own initial production, so that we can continue the cycle, albeit if we have audited and traceable material in the marketplace, that again needs to be refreshed. It can go back through the atomizer and producing more powder and new powder. So giving the same original material more uses in life.
Great. One question, Matthias. You've seen Formnext is very much focusing on sustainability this time. I mean, your software or your solution helps to find parameters and materials faster. Is there a sustainable aspect in that doing? So is it something you could use for marketing to your customers?
Sure. I mean, we do so. I mean, on the one side, it's of course a matter of reducing R&D costs, which in the end also reduces the amount of materials required. But then there's also a sustainability aspect of it. When you see optimizing materials can lower weight of materials, can increase strengths. That can, for example, lead to a lower weight in aerospace field, which can in return also decrease the CO2 footprint of airplanes. And there's a lot of other examples like this where optimized printing parameters and optimized materials can actually support these goals very much and very much aligned with this. As you see from the projects we're currently also in, like building super light drone bodies with same strengths as commercially available drone bodies.
Great, thank you.
Thanks. We have a question from the audience, from Jörg Meyer, who's asking whether, so this goes into the direction of Mr. Desmond again. Can you offer powders in different particle sizes, and what's your opinion in using only larger size of metal powder bigger than 20 microns?
Okay, so we offer particle size distribution across a wide range of sizes. Typically, the sizes that people choose will be suitable for their application and for their machine. It's not for, powder is very important. It's obviously the thing that's within the part that makes the part, that gives the part its characteristics. But ultimately, powder is just one part of the puzzle. So you have the process, the machine, the design. So we have, we can produce powders, up to 300 microns in size. So all the way down from 0 up to 300. Typically, we would be looking at, for laser powder bed, 15 to 45 microns. And then for other applications, obviously bigger sizes than that. But it's not for us to dictate really what the industry should use. As I say, powder is just one piece of the puzzle when you look at additive manufacturing.
Great. One last question to Matthias. Where do you see the future development of artificial intelligence in the field of additive manufacturing?
I think, we are mostly concentrating currently on the R&D aspect of additive manufacturing, which I think is very important because development in additive manufacturing, because additive manufacturing is a comparable young manufacturing method. So R&D is very R&D heavy, and that has to be definitely focused. However, I see for the future where we are also moving with our current development of XT-SAM, we call it, is to integrate this AI system into a wider scope of manufacturing. That means, I think in the future, we will actually not look at additive manufacturing, but there will be a whole system for manufacturing in general. And additive manufacturing will have a very, very important part of this, But there's many other things like biotechnologies are very important, and the overlap between additive manufacturing and biotech will become extremely important over the next 3 to 5 years. There is overlap between chemistry and additive manufacturing, which will become more and more and more important. So artificial intelligence systems will become also more important because just the whole systems become more complex, and it will require systems like ours or of other companies to help the market to achieve its goals, which is have over the next years.
Great. Thank you, Dermot. Thank you, Matthias, for joining us and pitching your presentation. It's a pleasure to have you again at the Formnext. We wish you all of the success you need for the upcoming month and years. Thank you for joining us. Good luck for the rest of the Formnext. Bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye. So, we now proudly present the winners of Formnext Startup Challenge, and they convinced the jury with their innovative products, their teams and their business models, and they won a free participation here at Formnext Connect. They won also this beautiful award, and don't be afraid, we won't hand it over. Even Arno and I, we are not allowed to touch it due to the regulations, but we send it via post to them, so they have it already. I definitely recommend to you, the viewers, to have a look into their LinkedIn profiles, as well as Matthias and Dermot as well. Get in touch with the people. Use as well the matchmaking possibilities over our fair software. And we will now go over to the winning startups and have a look into their pitches. And we will see Addiguru with Shushi Kurana, the CEO. We will see AM Flow with Stefan Rink. We will see Nematic with Raphael Heb. And we will see TOffeeAM with Nicolas Raske. Please enjoy the pitches of our winners, and film, please start.
Hi, I'm SK. My company name is Addiguru. Addi comes from additive manufacturing, and Guru comes from the fact that we are creating a software to guide 3D printing processes. Imagine you are a 3D printing part provider. Your business is booming because aerospace and medical implant companies just love your process. But you know there is a huge scope of improvement because 40% of your parts have defects, and you have to X-ray scan each and every part after you have made. Now, that's what Addiguru is doing, is identifying defects in real time so that you can help you save a lot of time and money. We are using cameras, optical cameras, infrared cameras, near-infrared cameras, other sensors like oxygen sensors, artificial intelligence, physics-based modeling, and our knowledge to identify those defects in real time. This, for example, if you have a 5-day build and after 1 day a defect comes in, then you will get notifications with Addiguru system and will be able to stop that failed build and save 4 days of time on these expensive $1 million machines. You will also avoid X-ray scanning of that part. Overall, that can lead to huge amount of savings. As a customer, you can even get up to $3 million of savings per year, depending on how many machines you have. Not only it's a huge value proposition for a user, but also the 3D printing market size is going to double or more than double in less than 5 years. Monitoring technology is also growing fast for additive manufacturing, and it will be more than $1 billion in less than 5 years. At Addiguru, we are using off-the-shelf, affordable and practical sensors and deploying them quickly, whereas our competitors are more focused on expensive hardware, and that makes it an unaffordable solution. Also, the way they're technically approaching is very academic and impractical. We have developed our initial version of our software. We are taking afterfusion and powder bed pictures. As soon as the pictures are taken, they run through the AI model, and if there is an issue, then a notification is sent. We have multiple pilots installed. They love what we are doing and they want more. Our partner, we are actually partnering with Open Additive and Authentize, which are well known in this space. Many big manufacturers we have talked to, including Boeing, who have given us a letter of support for one of our grant applications. I started this company because I realized that we could technically approach it in a much better manner. This is based on my past experience as well as entrepreneurial experience. Vineet has a lot of experience in scaling technology products. Bharat has a lot of experience in artificial intelligence and machine learning. Together we make a very strong team. With our advisors who have a lot of knowledge in this area, they have been helping us a lot as well. We are a strong team making a lot of progress. We are getting a lot of traction in the market that is growing very fast and growing big. We welcome people to approach us if they're interested in investing, they want to partner with us, or they want some pilot installs and want to get our software and start working with us. We're happy to give them pilot installs. Thank you for your time.
My name is Carlos Zwicker, Chief Commercial Officer AM Flow, located in the vibrant city centre of Amsterdam and in Eindhoven at the Brainport Industry Campus, known for its unique high-tech ecosystem and hotspot for Dutch chip technology and robotics. The additive manufacturing industry still needs to deliver on some of its most principal promises. Smaller ecological footprint, local production, full freedom of design at a competitive cost price. To date, our industry has evolved on the basis of workstation optimization. We have, however, not been building towards full end-to-end digital factories, and it's time to change this.
Familiar to you? As a successful 3D printing company, you are facing rapid growth in volume as well as in differentiation. Handling high mix and high volume goes smoothly in the first stages. The designs of your customers flow as vast amounts of bits and bytes through your pre-production department into your industrial printers. But after 3D printing, the digital flow comes to an abrupt end and switches back to the analog age. Especially all the manual sorting doesn't scale at all. Labor costs increase exponentially, space becomes a big problem, working conditions get poor, and people start making mistakes. The AM Vision is your automated sorter solving these problems.
We provide the connecting dots between the individual workstations, creating cost efficiency and lead time reduction. We aim to create an optimized AM production workflow. We are AM Flow. So let me ask you, how do you manage to keep track of more than hundreds of parts with endless possible geometries as a consequence of freedom of design through all post-production steps required for each individual part without a clear identifier of each part? The answer? Start the video.
My name is Stefan Rink, CEO of AM Flow. It's an honor to be chosen as the winner of the Formnext Startup Challenge in the category Automation. I want to thank the Formnext, the jury and our customer base for awarding this prize. Being recognized by our industry peers is an enormous boost and validation of our vision and our solutions in the field.
If you have any queries about our technology, we look forward to your questions at the Q&A later on. Are you ready to automate your post-processing?
Hello, my name is Raphael Heb. I'm CEO and co-founder of Nematic. We're based in Zurich, Switzerland, and our aim is to introduce the next generation of high-performance polymers for 3D printing. We truly believe that additive manufacturing has a huge potential to become an industrial manufacturing solution for many applications. And to support the fast growth of our industry, we would like to provide new high-performance materials to boost industrialization. For this purpose, we have developed a proprietary technology called Nematic 3D printing, with which we are pioneering the use of liquid crystal polymers for extrusion-based additive manufacturing. We have designed material compositions for 3D printing, which we combine with an optimized extrusion system and special part and slicing algorithms. And by perfectly matching materials, hardware and software, it is possible to produce high-performance end-use parts. Let's have a closer look. Our deep understanding of how the material behaves at a molecular level enables us to produce parts with extraordinary mechanical properties. We can see here that the tensile strength of 650 megapascals clearly outperform current benchmark polymers and can even compete with lightweight metals. The stiffness is a factor of 10 higher compared to state-of-the-art high-performance polymers, and we currently reach 25 gigapascal. Usually stiff materials tend to be very bad at damping vibrations, but due to the nematic microstructure, our materials retain high damping properties. Excellent mechanical properties in combination with low weight are highly sought after in different industries. For example, in the aerospace and space sector, where lightweight brackets could replace heavier metal parts. The temperature stability of our parts is significantly higher compared to established high-performance polymers, with a heat resistance above 250 degrees. In thermal cycling experiments, we have shown that the mechanical properties do not degrade, and our parts are fire resistant, which makes them attractive for a variety of industrial applications, including electronic and electrical connectors or special machine components. Another important characteristic is the excellent stability of our printed parts in chemical and biological environments. We are measuring significantly lower outgassing of low molecular weight residues in high vacuum compared to peak, with a total mass loss of only 0.05%. Moisture absorption is also very low, and the resistance in acid, solvents and hydrocarbon oils very high. This makes our parts attractive for the production of components which come in close contact with harsh chemicals. And because our materials are inherently biocompatible, we are also looking into the manufacturing of personalized medical devices with our technology. If you want to learn more about Nematics, please come and meet us during the next days. We're always looking for new applications and partners to realize successful additive manufacturing projects. Thank you very much and talk to you soon.
Hi, I'm Nicholas Rasky, an engineer at TOffeeAM, the design software for additive manufacturing. Additive manufacturing remains a young, unexploited technology, and like other new technologies, it is not yet near its potential. We can see this here in the first bridge made from iron in England. It is easy to notice that it inherited its design from bridges that came before. The designers had a new material to play with and yet maintained an almost identical shape. It has taken 2 centuries to get to something radically different, like the Millennium Bridge. This is because when a new technology is introduced, the human mind takes time to learn and exploit the opportunities that have become possible. At TOffeeAM, we have created the right design software to bring additive manufacturing to its full potential. In one streamlined package, our software simultaneously optimizes the structural design of its components for their interactions with fluids and heat. Using intelligent generative design, our prototype is already 20 times faster than current tools and is able to design solutions that are 40% more efficient. We can see here a traditionally designed heat exchanger. Our software automatically created a highly complex, bespoke design, improving efficiency. Even by an experienced engineer, this sort of design cannot be created with traditional tools. We are continuously looking for new applications that can benefit from our design approach and are already present in the aerospace, automotive, and energy industries. As a market, additive manufacturing is growing 30% year on year. It is becoming more and more common to 3D print mechanical components such as burners and valves in aircraft engines and cars. Our software is ideally placed to service this market. It is possible for us to exploit this growth because our software addresses a larger range of physical problems than our competitors. It is also scalable and affordable. We use a per-seat license model that allows engineers and developers to work on their designs with as many compute cores as they see fit. TOffeeAM was created by a fantastic group of engineers. Francesco, our CEO, has been an aerospace designer for more than 20 years and is a professor at Imperial College, where he was joined by Marco and Audrey. Marco is an excellent mathematician, a fellow of the Engineering and Physical Sciences Research Council, while Audrey is an Amelia Earhart Fellow, an honor awarded to the top 30 women in aerospace engineering globally. Both hold PhDs from in engineering from Imperial College. The leading team is joined by Ashley Unit. He successfully co-founded and grew Software as a Service market leader, New Voice Media, across 2 decades in the telecommunications sector. Baker Hughes has just recently joined us as part of our advisory board. Our software has already been trusted with designing components from General Electric, Rolls-Royce, Baker Hughes, and one of the leading Formula One teams. This is an exciting time for us, and we look forward to what comes next. Thank you for listening.
So, thank you, dear startups, and congratulations for winning the Startup Challenge. Very exciting ideas, very exciting concepts, exciting pitches. Very well done. I would like to welcome you digitally here on stage in order to answer our Q&As. So, where are the participants? Here we are. Hello to all of you. Congratulations again. Well done. Thank you so much. Good to have you here. So you pitched so well that we have already some questions by the audience. Arno, do you mind to start?
Yeah, not at all. Thanks a lot for pitching, everybody. Was a great pleasure to evaluating your applications, and I'm very much impressed by the quality of the outcome, and really nice to being part of this. The first question that comes from the audience is a question from Sweden, from a highly competent gentleman from the great team of Amexi. Benjamin Haller is asking a question to Addiguru. Are you using your own hardware, like cameras or sensors, or are you working with OEM components?
We are using, can you guys hear me clearly?
Very well.
Great. Yeah, thanks for the question. We are using off-the-shelf sensors and hardware. So these are not our hardware. We can also use OEM's hardware that is already on the machine. The main technology is in the artificial intelligence and software. So our software is designed to be machine agnostic, hardware agnostic, as well as, and we are going to add more and more processes. So overall, it'll be process agnostic as well.
Thank you so much. So the next question is for AM Flow from Simon Radcliffe. What makes your solution special for AM challenges? Isn't visual sorting of products in production lines commonplace in manufacturing? So a very critical question, but probably you can give a short answer on that.
Yeah. No, a really good question, I would say. You see that a lot of automation already is mainstream in the food industry or the automotive and so on. What makes it particularly challenging in AM factories to automate process steps is the infinite variety of parts you see. Especially at service bureaus, but also at big manufacturing companies, you most of the time see high mix and high volume on daily basis. And being able to deal with that asks for a specific approach, both on bin picking, on part identification, tracking and tracing, and packaging.
Mm-hmm. Great.
Good. Next question, again from Benjamin Haller of Amexi. This time for Raphael of Nematic. How does the cost for your material compare to other materials that you've shown?
Well, the costs are really comparable to other high-performance materials known in the extrusion-based additive manufacturing, such as PEEK. So we're really on the same level for the part costs as well as for the material costs.
Okay. So no more questions so far from the audience. Probably a little bit more a word to TOffeeAM. Generative design and sustainability. Is there approach to sustainability at TOffeeAM?
Yes. By introducing this way of getting let's say the perfect design for your purpose, and we managed to create components, intelligent components that are able to reduce some common problems. For example, can reduce pollution, can increase the heat efficiency, and at the same time can increase the lifespan of some critical components, for example, in the aerospace. And we estimated we can, by including our design, extend the life on these components. So these are definitely having an impact on sustainability, both in terms of pollution and in terms of resources and waste of materials.
Very good. Thank you so much. Question to all of you, probably we start with Addiguru again. What was the approach to say we want to be part of Startup Challenge, we want to participate? What was the initial trigger to do so?
I became aware of this thing. I think it was in July or early July. I was approached by one of the organizers because I spoke in one of the conferences. They realized what we are doing. I think they realized that we are doing something important and what's needed for the industry, and it'll help the industry. So I came to know about it, and obviously Formnext is the biggest or one of the biggest conferences in the additive world. So why not? And obviously, it helps us with the exposure, but also our software, it has a right stage where we need a little bit of a boost. We need partners to work with. We need some pilot installs, and this is a great place to ask for that, right? So that's why we applied.
Great. I hope it will turn out. The others, Nematic, probably you stayed a little bit. What was the motivation?
Well, we visited Formnext last year physically, and we were already aware of the Startup Challenge, and therefore it was clear for us that we would like to participate this year. I guess it's a great opportunity to get some visibility for startups, and this is exactly what we need in our current stage.
Great. AM Flow, when was this decision made?
Around summer. So we participated 2 times physically at Formnext, and this obviously is an ideal stage to get your ideas around in the industry. And if you also look at the question we just got, there are still a lot of assumptions going around on, let's say, additive manufacturing. I've had the pleasure to lead some factories in the solar and the metal industry, and I was really surprised when onboarding the AM industry that the printing and the design was really digital, but that the post-production was still, let's say, the dirty secret. You see a lot of shrimp peeling processes going on. And then if you started looking into, hey, there are so many smart people working in this sector, it can't be that it still isn't automated. So then we actually struck upon in several factories that automating that infinity of geometries is really problematic. And having those discussions and having them in a good way, I think this platform is great. Hey? This is the only place where you see all the decision makers of the world coming together. So we are really thankful for being here.
Great. Marco, probably last statement from your side.
Yeah, and in our case, as we are a design company, so we are trying to fill, let's say, the gap between these capabilities offered now by additive manufacturing and the possibility of fully exploit this capability. We wanted to have, let's say, a closer look at what are the state of the art of the additive manufacturing techniques and to be ready to make our software suitable for these new techniques. And for what I can see, for the great progress that's been done by additive manufacturing by reducing further and further the manufacturing constraints. So for us, it's a way to know more what is the state of the art, the technical state of the art, and to address our development accordingly, and at the same time give to our company visibility to other additive manufacturing industries.
Great. Arno, there are a few more questions, I think.
Yes, we actually have a couple of more questions. I'm quite sure that you'll be also able to answer them after the session. I have one personal question actually from myself to Stefan Rink of AM Flow. I really like your solution, very high degree of automation, which is, I'm convinced, absolutely what the industry needs and in order to get to mass manufacturing. My question is, who are today your typical customers? So who would need such a high degree of automation at the moment? Who are you targeting with this product?
We are targeting both service providers. I think it's Open Door over there. Hey, they have high mix and high volume on a daily basis. What we were surprised to notice actually is that also the big contract manufacturers and the application manufacturers, like for instance, we have Materialize, but also BMW as one of our early customers, that they also produce a high mix on a daily basis. And the reason is actually the really short lead time. So if you want, and especially if you have internal design processes, you want to have your designs as quickly as possible, then inevitably makes that you have high mix on a daily basis. So we see that actually at the big companies, but also the smaller and the mid-sized service providers. And we are really happy to also see solutions at Formnext presented, like for instance, collaboration between several big companies on the automated cleaning, because the next step after cleaning is actually identification of your parts coming out of cleaning. And then you have obviously internal transport and packaging. So if we want to enable lights out factories in additive manufacturing, we need to all do it together. And in that sense, it's nice that we are challenged as startups, but I also think that we as startups are challenging the industry and saying, hey guys, what do we need to do to take it to the next level? Are we able and willing to challenge, for instance, the cost price level of injection molding with additive manufacturing? And if we can get there, then we really make that sustainable promise true. Right now, I think if you look at metals and plastics, we are only producing with AM only 1% of the total manufacturing volume globally. If you want to make that 30-40% produced locally, then we need to get to those lights out factories and that distributed manufacturing. But we need each other over here. So it's really collaboration on all the components here.
Great. Thank you so much. Unfortunately, we run out of time, but it doesn't matter at all because we have all the questions here for you. You will be able to answer them directly to the ones that have asked them. And I really invite you to get in touch with the people addressing you because this is what this fair and this Formnext Connect format is all about. Thank you all again. Congratulations again for winning this startup challenge. Well deserved. Yeah, there we see the prize. Fully functional, I hope. Thank you so much. Good luck with the future. Hope to report next year about your success story. Would be great. Thank you so much. Good luck. Bye-bye, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, Arno, impressive, isn't it?
Very, very impressive, yes.
Yeah. Great startups. So one startup we haven't talked about yet is the one that won the Impact Award. But let's talk a little bit about the Impact Award first. How come you created a new award within the Formnext Startup Challenge? What was the idea behind it?
Well, the idea was actually not even triggered by the current pandemic challenge that we are facing. It started already quite a little bit earlier. As I mentioned, we initiated the Formnext Startup Challenge already more than 5 years ago, and evolved with the challenge over the past 5 years. Also, AM Ventures turned from a startup into a more mature company, and over time, we've evaluated more than 1,500 startups around the planet. That means more than 200 startups every year are reaching out to us, and we're evaluating them in order to look for an investment. And out of these 1,500 startups that we've evaluated, we've only chosen about a little bit over 1% to invest in. So we've realized over time that there are things that we are checking for, which are not necessarily very rational economic figures and the team. Of course, we have a big bandwidth coming in. We have a very small capacity in the team to conduct investments, so you somehow have to prioritize. And we realized over time that there are other criteria, additional criteria on top of the economic figures that we are checking for, and this is the sustainability impact, the responsibility of the entrepreneurs, the nature of their business that we are evaluating for, and we decided that it is really time to also add this on top of the startup challenge and reward impactful businesses with an extra award, and therefore also give additional communication, additional publicity to these kind of startups.
Great. Why do you think the topic sustainability, and we experience it now at this Formnext, is such an important topic for the AM community, considering the fact that AM itself is standing for sustainability? But why it has such an impressive impact on the industry and the other way around?
It is also standing for this. Maybe this can be answered with a sentence which is called the Peter Parker principle from the comics, Spider-Man comics. It says, "With great responsibility, with great power comes great responsibility." And I think we all agree that additive manufacturing is an incredibly powerful technology. We discussed earlier today that it's like a dimensional portal. It's the interface technology between the digital world and the physical real world. So in the end, it's our responsibility, the entrepreneurs, the investors, the salesmen, the engineers' responsibility, and also in certain ways our decision, what products do we take from the digital world into the physical world? We can pick the projects that we are working on. And we are deeply convinced that we should work on the applications and the technologies that solve the big challenges of the world. And additive manufacturing can contribute largely to this, and therefore we as AM Ventures, we have decided that we want to give credit to the sustainability changes in the world, and therefore the AM industry can help solving this.
Great. I mean, we discussed sustainability with startups already, and I got to know a little bit of MolyWorks already. But anyway, if you're considering, or if you take a look at the startup in its very beginning, so at the beginning, there's more the idea of an application or material, the process or the hardware, and they start developing. Why do you think a startup should think about sustainability at this time already? Why should it be important for a startup?
In my opinion, because sustainability or addressing sustainability topics is the big advantage of a startup, or can be a USP for a startup. So look at big corporations, especially the conglomerates that were formed in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. There's a very heavy heritage resting on their shoulders. They were built based on shareholder value. So simple profit as a bottom line. as the key performance indicator which they had to follow. So unfortunately, and still today, in many businesses, there's a lot of greenwashing being done. So communicating sustainability measures in order to cover up their current business and somehow justify that other things do not have to be done. The big advantage for a startup is that they do not have this heavy burden. They can start from scratch. They can do whatever they want, and it's their decision what they do. And they can turn the business around. Once a pandemic evolves, they can choose to print valves and adjust their business to a situation. And this gives startups a lot of power. And starting over again means you can do it right from the very beginning. And therefore you can address the sustainability challenges from the start in the right manner. And therefore, I think it's a big advantage for startups.
Absolutely. So let's get a little bit more into details of the Impact Award, how it was set up, what was the preconditions behind it, what were the decision factors, how did you develop the Impact Award?
Well, in the end, we said we want to reward those startups who have decided to tackle the global sustainability challenges around the world. So, good thing is there is a sustainability development goal framework that has been created by the United Nations. It's a set of 17 different goals that they have defined, which present the set of goals that we want to achieve in order to become a sustainable civilization. And therefore we already knew where to turn. Then we simply, in the team at AM Ventures, we took these 17 goals and looked at those that we, with our technology, can address. The outcome was a set of 5 or 6 different goals where we convinced AM can make a difference. And then we already had our benchmark and could select those startups that applied for the Impact Award. And luckily it was more than half of the entrants for the Startup Challenge decided also to hand in their application for the Impact Award. So we could benchmark them against how they would address these 6 sustainability goals that we have defined as our target framework.
Was it a clear decision?
Yes, more or less, I would say, simply because we also took into consideration not only what these startups were doing, because doing is only one part when you are addressing sustainability challenge, in my opinion. It's equally important to also talk about what you are doing, because you have to be inspirational. You cannot only do very good things, you also have to inspire others to also repeat this and to chime in and to join the fight for the good cause. And therefore we were looking also at how are these startups communicating this. And I've followed the winning company for quite some time now. We've known each other for 3 or 4 years at least, I would say. And seeing how this company has changed, also their way how they communicate and how they view their impact in the industry and how they tell this story and inspire others, has again inspired us to make the decision that they clearly deserve the first Impact Award.
Great. So we have just a minute left before we start with the pitch. What was the award about? So what do they gain winning this award? What are the benefits?
Well, first of all, the media coverage by Formnext and the team around it is, of course, very, very clearly addressing the need for inspiring others and spreading the message and communicating what the team has done. Then we have the €5,000 prize money, and the pitch award itself that is helping the winner to demonstrate and to become a lighthouse in terms of fighting for sustainable civilization.
Great, thank you so much, Arno, for the insights and for the background of the Impact Award. We do not want to longer wait for seeing the Impact Award winner 2020 here of the Startup Challenge. It's the company MolyWorks, represented by the speaker Chris Ionta, who is the founder, and we will see their pitch now.
Successful with 21 common alloys and counting. The Greyhound system melts your scrap, turning it into high-quality, additive manufacturing grade powder.
We took what would traditionally be a huge recycling facility and shrunk it down to fit within a standard shipping container. We'll make your metal powder right there, process it, and print it there, and never have to transport the material off-site.
Operating at the point of need eliminates shipping costs, regulatory issues, import duties, taxes, inventory, and delivery time, at a total logistics cost saving of 99%. All of this while eliminating metal waste.
When compared to mining and extracting, recycling reduces energy consumption by 80% and uses fewer steps without causing a reduction in quality. As mines are being depleted more rapidly each year, and environmental considerations lead to policy changes, recycling will inevitably become the primary production method for most metals.
A circular economy is our best shot at preserving Earth's natural capital.
This is the future of recycling, and we've made it possible.
So we are now digitally connected with the winner of this year's Formnext Impact Award, sponsored by AM Ventures. Hello, Chris.
Hi, how are you?
Hi, I'm fine, thank you. First of all, let me express my congratulations. Great award. How does it feel to be the first winner of the Impact Award here at the Startup Challenge?
Yeah, very, very special honor. Happy to see sustainability becoming kind of a beacon of the industry. So thank you very much for having the foresight to do a challenge like this. Yeah.
Thank you for participating, to taking the challenge at least. We have seen the video with this, which is quite impressive because that's exactly what we discussed in our sustainability panel. You need to make it more visible to the outside what sustainability means, and this is exactly what you're doing with your impact video. I think, Arno, I would let you ask some questions to get a little bit deeper into your technical solution to better understand how this process is working, if you don't mind. Arno, please.
Yes. Chris, thanks a lot for handing in your application and for evolving your story, which we've been following for quite some time now. It's great fun to see how MolyWorks has evolved into this important part of the circular economy. Maybe can you share to the audience with the audience a little bit what are the modules of your product? What do they see if they open the shipping container?
Yeah, so basically we have a metallurgical system, a vacuum metallurgical system that can melt a variety of types of scrap metal, support structures, waste metal powder, Schwarf chips, machine turnings, and then bring that to a molten pool, get it homogeneous, and then directly atomize it. Everything's done horizontally, so it fits in a 20-foot shipping container, which is a drastic footprint reduction compared to a traditional atomization system. And then the ability to be in a shipping container, when it was designed, was not to be deployable. It was really out of necessity. We didn't want to get wet when we were building it in the front lawn, but that has actually turned into an asset of the system that we've built. So we believe that they can kind of live inside of a manufacturing center, and then at a certain date in the future, they could also be deployed into a little bit more austere environment when manufacturing gets to, I guess, the leading edge of where we travel.
Yeah. Great, thanks. Maybe. So I assume there are a couple of spectators now in the audience who are wondering, how can I get my hands on this product now? How can I get this solution? What's your business model? How can they approach you now?
Yeah, right now we're just running pilot programs. So we have companies send their scrap to us. We recycle it and we return the metal powder. And during that pilot program, we build up the scenario in which we put a system on site in their facility. So what it's likely going to turn into is large metal producers, large producers of metal scrap will become regional footholds. So Greyhound systems will be deployed into the region at large metal producers, and then any of the smaller companies in the region can utilize the system there. Otherwise, a Greyhound could go to anyone's site if they're ready to take one on. But the ultimate place is to have a Greyhound system at the point of need, so they can take their metal waste and get it into metal powder.
So if we are talking about metal waste, here's a question from the audience regarding this topic. How do you manage contaminations in the scrap?
We can refine it. So some contaminations like high density inclusions or low density inclusions can be refined out. Otherwise, just typical process engineering control is the way that we contaminate bad material coming in. So I'm a trained chemical engineer, and what lesson number one from the chemical engineer is bad in is bad out. So it takes a little bit of process control to avoid that.
So is that something you help the clients with in order to establish a process, or is it something that the clients already have in place?
In most cases, the clients are doing some amount of material prep to get better value out of their scrap metal anyway. And you can't transport things with cutting fluid, it's hazardous waste. So I think it's not far from what most customers are doing. And yes, we provide that as part of kind of the training to bring a Greyhound system on site.
Okay, so now it's the one side to win award and to present yourself to the world, and the other side to have success. Do you already are full in business, and do you have success already and a lot of clients that are using your solution? How many solutions have you sold already?
I think we gained 17 new customers this year. just with the United States government, we've hit we have the Department of Energy, NASA, Air Force, Army. So we've hit kind of those verticals as well. But I think it's coming out right now. It's rolling out automotive, aerospace, space. We're hitting many of the applications that additive manufacturing has shown a lot of value in.
So what is the need you have in the current situation, something you are looking for when getting in touch with people here at Formnext? What would be the things you would request or are need in your current stage of development?
Right now, the best line is anyone that has metal waste powder will typically have all the things that unlock the value of it. So a customer that has metal waste powder obviously is also going to be doing 3D printing. So it's a pretty quick insight. And most companies that have 3D printing also have other varieties of scrap. So our target raw material source or metal waste source is metal powder.
Great.
We have more questions from the audience coming in to Chris, and Dr. Mattia Caminati is asking what the maximum amount of scrap is that the solution is able to process. I guess he's referring to
85 kilograms an hour. Mm-hmm. It can do 85 kilograms an hour, and it's pretty dependent on material, so you could probably see rates higher than that. We do a lot of switching of material, so our system is designed around 8,000 to 10,000 kilograms a year, but it has quite a few material changes. So if you didn't change materials, you stayed on one material, and you had a relatively consistent feedstock, you could see significantly higher production rates. The other thing is we've limited our footprint to a shipping container, right? So you can only put so much power through that shipping container. So. But this is designed kind of with where additive manufacturing is. There's not that many customers out there with 1,000 printers. So I think we're falling in line right where the industry is.
Great. There's a question I like very much because that's why I need to take it. It's about passion and motivation to do so. One audience viewer is asking, what was your greatest inspiration for getting started in this field? Regarding supporting next generation in this field, what was one of your first experiments as a kid that you made to realize your passion? How did you come to this business, Chris?
Yeah, I mean, I saw plasma at a lab at NASA Ames. So they basically would put these like little thermal tiles, and then they would just launch the most high temperature plasma at it to try to melt it down. And from that point, I was a plasma addict. That was kind of something that I always wanted to do. Yeah, I guess inspiration, or what was the inspirational moment? I sat in a venture meeting with an angel, and he told me that, Chris, young kid, you're attempting to climb Everest, and I don't want to die on Everest. So that was kind of an inspiring thing. I'm still going up Everest, but yeah, it's been a battle. Yeah, and I think when I get there, I'll definitely send an email to him telling him that I made it.
Okay. Considering the results today and probably in the future, I think you achieved more than climbing the Everest. So congratulations again for winning this Impact Award. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for pitching here at this pitching event. Good luck and a lot of success for the future with all your plans. Okay?
Thank you very much.
Pleasure.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
Good luck. Bye-bye.
Bye.
See you live next year.
Thank you so much. Yeah, Arno, thank you so much for supporting me here in the studio at the Pitchnext event. It was kind of different, but it was kind of cool as well. Thank you so much for joining me and helping me. It was a pleasure on my side. So I hope you enjoyed the Pitchnext event as well. Please make extensive use of connecting with the startups pitching today, because this is what they need: connection, exchange, and new ideas. And enjoy the rest of the program here at Formnext. Thank you for joining us.